right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready and not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready and not. How you like me now? I say, here comes the boom, ready and not. Here comes the boys from the south. Boom, here comes the boom, ready and not. How you like me now?
You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
You are watching live to the best damn Cincinnati sports podcast this side of the precinct. I was told to say that at work today. My name is Santori Miles. We got Big Savage Greg. We got Bengal Dad. And we got GameOn513. How we doing? How we doing?
Fantastic.
Great. Great till a half an hour ago, but we're good.
Greg's in meltdown mode.
It'll be okay, Greg. It'll be okay.
We cool.
We've lost John.
Well, that was it.
We had game on for 10 seconds.
Yes,
it was
we did.
all for
It was
promo.
No, game off.
Yep.
Good
Game
10
off.
seconds.
And we're back.
Sorry about
Switch
that.
sides.
Dude, somebody called me. I apologize. That was bad.
We go, game on! You left, and Dad goes, game off.
What's up, fellas? How are we doing tonight?
Greg is like in pure despair.
Yeah,
Like,
Greg's really upset.
You guys
Well,
are really bringing the
I was cleaning my house and my phone goes off like, oh, I'll check it later. And I get all these buddies I haven't talked to in a while. I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, oh.
we'll get to that here later. One thing I do kind of want to get back to, because while I do love the ticker at the bottom of the screen, I think we need to actually mention who some of these people are. We don't need to necessarily go through the whole spiel and scripts and everything that we always do. But we do have lovely sponsors for our show. First of which is, yeah, let me see if I can even find that. There it is. Brimminghorn Meadery, the original sponsor of our show, Rally Round the Natty, out of Delaware. Bengal fans out that way, come out with the King of the North bottle. Send us some King of the North t-shirts this year. Use our code HOODAY9, get 15% off 2 bottles or more. Basically covers your shipping costs. They ship to just about everywhere in the United States. Another one is one of our dear friends, Steve Huff, owns a coffee store. Yep, switch it up, Greg. Script Coffee now has a brick and mortar with a drive-through up here in Lebanon, Ohio. If you are into cappuccinos, espressos, Americanos, iced coffee, all that good stuff, please go check them out, because I think my wife is keeping them afloat and I am poor. She needs to stop and we need to have a conversation. Third, Greg, these are your boys. I'll let you talk about them.
Are you looking for great food, just great awesomeness, or great everything? Well, head on down to Midwest Best Barbecue. And also, for our big event Friday for Project Game Day, it's a sold-out event. Anybody that's coming, it's going to be an amazing event. I mean, Tim and Nicole, if you ever get a chance to meet them, just the nicest people in the world. I'm just every day, they're just so proud to sponsor. So, Game On, have you ever heard of Midwest Best?
Oh, absolutely.
God, I know you.
Sponsors of some of the greatest podcasts in the Bengals nation, right?
Absolutely.
And then last but certainly not least, our dear friend Adam Rennell, or Adam Anderson, whatever he's going by this week. Three-Way City, one of the best clothing brands up and coming in Cincinnati, releasing some new material coming out soon. And I know he's been kind of promoting it on his social media, but they've got all these great hats. Three-Way City with the red with the white script is one of my favorites. The black with the orange script is a good one. They've got the alligator jacket. They've got the Don't Cheat, Have a Three-Way t-shirt, crop top that I still need to wear at some point during a Bengals game. So, if you got some time, he's getting ready to reload his inventory. Check him out at Three-Way City. With that being said, let's jump into some Reds talk.
Reds.
It is late April, and they have a winning record.
How about that?
There is a God. They're not 3-18. We have gotten past the dark ages of the David Bell era. What is happening? Ellie De La Cruz is playing at an MVP video game pace.
I think this is their best start since 2012.
This is their best start since I was in high school. That hurts. All right. I'm 30.
Don't make me feel old, Santori.
Oh my god. But no, it's fun. The starting pitching staff isn't as consistent as I would like it yet. I think there was a little bit more promise there. There are some pieces of the bullpen that are lights out. There are some that haven't quite hit their stride yet. But overall, the pitching staff's been average. The offense has been up and down, but they're missing a third of their entire offense due to injuries and steroid suspensions. Call it what it is. For what the Reds are, and that is a small market team who has to constantly reload and make very choice decisions in free agency. We're a month in and they got a winning record. And that's more than I've been able to say in almost a decade. So I'm pretty happy with how it's going right now.
Yeah, with like half of these guys batting under 200, right?
Right.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. You trade for Espinal and he's batting like 111. He ends up having 3 hits last night. Go figure. You got Will Benson he's been moved all around the lineup, but he went 0 for his last 16 in the last week. And then finally last night, I think he got a hit. Ellie De La Cruz is knocking the cover off the ball. Spencer Steer's been a godsend so far. He's had a little bit of a slump of late, but I mean, he started strong. I mean, that's really been it, man. Hitting has come up big, and it's because of the home run ball more than anything, right? But yeah, some of these guys, they really got to get going.
You're definitely getting some of the lineup is picking up, or definitely a lot of it isn't doing its share right now. They're not firing on all cylinders by any stretch of the imagination. I don't like living by the long ball, but when everything else is cold, I'll take what I can get. With that being said, one of the things Dad and I always joked about growing up was he always wanted to see them pace for a certain number. What is that number, Dad?
1,000 runs.
Okay, that is 6 runs a game.
Mm-hmm.
They're at 5.5 right now. Just so you know.
They're not hitting the ball.
just so you know, I looked, and that was probably 2 nights ago when I looked at it. And I went, damn, they're close for not hitting. They're on pace for just about 900 runs this year, which is a lot.
Yeah. Well, if they don't start hitting, though, that pace won't stay. Because the reason they're scoring so many runs lately is they're playing teams that are just playing horrific defense behind them, and they're getting a lot of walks. They're getting a lot of free passes, and they are periodically or occasionally capitalizing on it. If they were hitting well, they would probably be averaging more like 8 runs a game because they have so many opportunities with all these free passes.
Well, and keep in mind, like we say, a third of the team's out right now.
Yep.
And you've got a third of the team's out, and it's still April. These guys haven't hit their stride yet. The ball's not flying out. It's not hot yet. Give it a month. We'll see where they're at. They might be hitting by then.
Santori, I mean, absolutely. You look at Marte, Friedel, and McLean. Can we all agree those guys are at least in our top 5 players? Those are 3 of our top 5 players that are out right now. And yet we're still hanging in there doing this, doing that. I mean, that's incredible right now. You know, like I say, I mean, just keep hanging by a thread here. I mean, the pitching's doing an okay job. I mean, there's like one good game, but then there's one bad game. Like, what's your guys' take on the pitching right now? Is it what you guys expected? Or do you think it should be better?
John, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I think they've had a resurgence since Lodolo. I think those first 2 starts were fantastic.
Right.
Right. And I think Martinez moving to the pen, giving us those 3 innings, that was huge. Against the Angels. I think that's where they kind of felt, hey, Suter and Martinez can kind of play this long relief type game and give our other relievers, a little bit more of a rest. Remember last season, our relievers, I don't even think we had a starter go through 6 innings like halfway through the season, and our relievers had the most innings pitched. So it's great to see that. And I would say this, even though we're not hitting, it's almost like every night it's somebody different who kind of steps up that you really don't expect. Last night CES to get his 3 hits on top of Espinal getting his 3 hits. and the guy just hasn't been hitting well. A couple days prior, Tyler Stevenson kind of showing up and giving his, best fighting chance to have the grand slam, as well as, the other home run there. And I think his barrel percentage was really high, this past week. So he's coming along. I just think that's what it takes as a collective, just different guys showing up every single day and giving you meaningful hits, with the exception of 2 nights ago where they had a one hitter. But yeah, I think we're on a good track. I think we're on a good track in terms of hitting, and I think pitching it's coming along, fellas.
Yeah, they definitely need to find their stride though, because they're in a real tough segment of their schedule starting now.
Yeah,
they're not going to get to play the White Sox, I don't think, again anytime soon. They got swept by the Mariners, and the Mariners are just an average team. Angels, they were just kind of an okay team. But when you got the Phillies and then you start your West Coast trips and you're playing San Diego and the Dodgers and Arizona, you're going to have to hit the ball a little more consistently, because our pitching is not going to look – if they look average right now, they're going to look a little below average when they're playing teams like that. So we're going to have to score some more runs to stay in these games and not get blown out.
Andrew Benintendi was giving me issues and all that. He's one of the best players in the league. Look, GameOn513, I live in Madeira, and that's where Benintendi came out of. So I was like telling Santori this. I'm rooting for Benintendi. He's like, Greg, you're rooting against the Reds. No, man. Hey, that's my Madeira guy. So I'm going to root. That's the only guy I have right now to root for out of Madeira. So I'm rooting like hell. And he did not do a good job.
Greg says he's the only one in Major League Baseball out of Madeira. I said, Greg, Madeira's like 2 blocks by 2 blocks. How many guys you expected to play Major League Baseball from there right now? Well, but to piggyback, I agree. I think I need more starting pitching staff consistency. The guy that I am not in love with, that seemingly everybody else in the city is Hunter Green.
Absolutely.
I need more than 4 innings, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts and 2 home runs. Like a 4.5 ERA for someone that was deemed the next Babe Ruth and the savior of baseball on Sports Illustrated. Now, granted, maybe overhyped, unfair at 17. What is it? But when they took this kid, there was an awful lot of promise.
Oh.
Granted, couple, Tommy John surgeries, COVID, derailed development, still only 23. There is a lot of time. Obviously, the Reds believe in him. They just gave him a 7-year contract. I am somebody that wants immediate results, and I become very impatient very quick. So I'm trying to find that balance. But, man, there are times where, if you truly believe your window is open for the next 3 years or so, Hunter Green's not one to rely on right now because he's still trying to figure it out. Abbott, a little bit of the same boat. He's not as good as he was last year. Again, super young. Lodolo, I've seen 2 starts that I like in the last 3 years. Montas, I don't know what I have out of him yet. My entire starting rotation is an enigma. My bullpen, half of them have an ERA under 2. The other half have an ERA over 9. Now granted, you throw all that together and they have like a team ERA of like 4.3. They're like right smack dab in the middle of Major League Baseball. And half of my offense is hitting 200 and somehow they have a winning record. It's April. They're young. There's a lot going forward. I know Friedel's getting ready to come back soon. There's a lot to still like. And they're somehow pacing for 93 wins out of all this. And, I mean, that's incredible to me that they're pacing for 93 wins and I'm bitching. Like 2 years ago, I'm like, this team's going to lose 100 games and I'm going to be taking a mayonnaise bath in the river. Like, and I'm still supposed to do that at some point. But it's, I don't really know what to think. I've always said when it comes to the Reds, because of the way baseball's shaped, I just want them to be competitive. I don't really have that year in, year out World Series aspiration that, the Yankees or Cardinals or some of those other fan bases can have. But it seems like they're maybe a year away of, if they truly mature the way they're supposed to, from really being able to be a dangerous team.
Yeah, the one thing I would say on the Hunter Green piece is we don't give him a lot of run support. So I do remember, the game in Seattle We were going through the 6th inning, and it was still 0-0. They ended up getting the first run because Ellie, I think, got called out at home on a Fraley single when he was sitting at second. It was a hard single. And then this past game, I think Green ended up going 7 innings, 4 walks, 4 Ks, 4 runs, and he got 0 run support. That was the one hitter. So, I mean, I would just say, the hitters only, I mean, the team's only as good, as the run support, right? When the run support is there, the pitching issues don't show themselves. And then when the run support is not there, everybody's like, oh, gosh, the pitching issues. And there's quite a few things to point out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my point of view on Hunter Green, if Hunter Green, hello.
Oh, cool.
Hunter Green was not Hunter Green, and it was just somebody you didn't know his name, you would wonder, other than the fact he strikes people out, why he's a major league pitcher. That's how I feel about him. The guy really, really struggles to get out of jams. And when you can't get out of jams as a starting pitcher, that's why you're always throwing 90 pitches in the 5th inning, and you rarely go more than 5.5. I know he went 7. They went 7 because they knew they weren't going to win that game, and they just went 8 1/3 innings just before that with their relief pitching. So they had to make him go. If he'd have given up 8 runs that game, I think he still would have been in there.
Speaking of the
7.
Speaking of the relief pitching, Diaz, I mean, I just don't know what I'm going to get out of him. You're up by 1 or 2 runs, but I'm scared to death. Am I going to get the Diaz that's going to walk a bunch of people, or am I going to get the Diaz that's going to strike out the side? You don't know. Like I said, and that's not really what you want out of a closer. When he's hot, he's one of the best in the league. But, man, there's just games when he comes in, man, he would walk the first batter or walk. I just don't know what I'm getting at times. Do you guys agree with that, or is it just me thinking that?
The Reds have been riddled with closers like that.
Yes.
Chapman was that way.
Cordero
was that way. Every time we have a closer,
people say Cordero's that way because when we had Cordero, I couldn't stand him.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back quite a bit.
Hold on, I like Alexis Diaz more than I liked Cordero, but Cordero was a heart attack every night because he would give out line drives into the gap, and you're going, holy shit! If Diaz is off, he's walking people, and it might be 6 inches outside. You're like, man, he's not really close, and we're going to get into some trouble. And there's an infield hit, maybe a flare, and it's just kind of those old school rally starters. With Cordero, it's like batting practice. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's getting shelled.
There was a game we played the Braves. We were up 9-1.
Yeah.
Dusty brings in Cordero. It lives in my mind. And he walked the bases loaded. They then had, a bases clearing double.
Brooks Conrad.
It was a walk-off grand slam.
The glove of Lance Nixon left field.
Yes, it
walk-off
was.
grand
my
slam
God.
off the glove
What
of
killed
Lance
me,
Nixon.
I was on a plane. We were up 8-0, and I boarded a plane in Florida. And I said, I got a bad feeling something's going to happen because I can't watch the game. I got off the plane and looked at that, and I didn't even want to move out of the airport. I was devastated. They lost the game 9-8 or 10-9, whatever it was.
Well, you called me, and I was like, they almost won. You're like, what do you mean they almost won? They hit an 8-1 lead. I said it hit off their glove, and you're like, what hit off their glove?
Yeah, that was Lance Nix, wasn't it?
Meanwhile, Ricky Karcher gets out of his jam.
Oh yeah.
And like, oh my God.
I hope I
Isn't that
never
just
see
that
him
funny?
again.
Oh,
He was
my
scary.
God.
I'll tell you, if I go back through the years, I'm thinking of closers that I could relax with. Jeff Shaw.
Yes.
I could relax with Jeff Shaw. I'm going way back.
Danny
Brantley.
Graves.
I could relax with Brantley.
Oh, don't get that started on Graves.
Danny Graves.
Ugh.
No,
No, not Danny Graves.
How about Scott Sullivan? He had a couple.
He was,
as well.
yeah, he really wasn't a closer though. He was
Him
like
and
an
Willie-
8th inning guy.
They kind of did.
well, Scott Williamson was a part-time closer. He did pretty good that one.
Yeah,
Scott Williamson scared me.
They tag teamed.
Yeah.
I need you guys to understand though. If the guy's not like spot on perfect throwing strikes, it scares Dad. Like if
If I got a closer that can't throw strikes, that just scares the hell out of me.
it doesn't even have to be not throw strikes. If Diaz comes jogging in tonight, I don't even know what the score is. If they can use him tonight in that situation, And the first
I'm
pitch
going to
is
know
a,
after the first pitch.
if the first pitch
Up
is
and
a
away.
slider,
Throw
he
it.
gets around on the outside and it sails up and away. You're gonna go.
He's
I'm done.
flying open, and there we go.
It's one pitch and you're out.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, who had the best closers was the Astros. First they had Billy Wagner, then they had Brad Lidge. I'm like, man, is this ever going to end with the Astros?
I loved Billy Wagner.
Oh, no. There was one game, and I don't know if you remember, Dante Bichette walks, then Griffey comes up with 2 outs, and like there's 2 strikes. He just hits one off Billy Wagner. That was the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life. Griffey hitting that 2-run homer off Billy Wagner. And the Astros Stadium is not an easy stadium to hit a home run out of. Not the Astrodome, wherever the heck it's now. Minute Maid Park.
Wasn't Billy Wagner originally a right-hander?
Yes.
He broke his arm or something, learned how to pitch left-handed?
Billy Wagner was right-handed, broke his arm as a kid, and taught himself how to throw left-handed.
Shut up.
Yeah, and now he's and he throws gas.
One
Like,
of the best
not,
closers of, oh my God.
Yeah, Billy Wagner.
I just saw something the other day. There's somebody in the minor leagues.
Oh, I saw it.
He's ambidextrous. He throws left-handed and right-handed, 95 and 99.
Because the one kid for the A's a few years ago was topping out at like 75, 80, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. This kid, minors, throwing like 98 miles an hour from both sides. How?
I don't know.
I can't even write my name left-handed, and this kid's like, I'm going to play baseball both sides. It doesn't matter.
I can't. I'm left-handed. I can't write right-handed. So tops off to Billy Wagner for doing that.
It's 2-0 bad guys.
Does it feel like? I just want to ask this question because I feel like this guy has really shown out this year. Does it feel like maybe Fernando Cruz has kind of entered that potential setup man?
He's one of the. He's one of the guys that I trust more than others. When his splitter is on, I trust him more than anybody in baseball because that splitter it's one of the best splitters in baseball. It's inconsistent, but it's one of the best in baseball when it's on. With that being said, I would prefer him probably as a permanent 7th inning guy. 8th, I think, gets a little bit too high leverage for the inconsistency that he can have. I say that like I think he's got an ERA of 2. Like he's not killing it this year, but I still. The issue is his fastball's flat as an ironing board, and if his splitter's not working, it's batting practice. We see it. It happens. And that could happen with anybody. And maybe he is getting more consistent. Maybe I should leverage him more in the 8th inning. I definitely don't see him as a closer, but he's definitely one of my final 3.
He's a guy, and he showed it yesterday. I like when they bring him in a jam because he can get strikeouts. He averages 2 strikeouts per inning.
Yeah.
It's that splitter.
Yeah, do you remember Tony Santillan when he first came up?
Oh, yeah, he was tough when he first came up.
Yeah, and he would strike out the side, and it'd be bases loaded or 2 men on, and, I mean, that was his role.
I'll tell you, best reliever, I remember watching Arthur Rhodes. He would come in, there'd be runners on first, second, and third with no outs, bases loaded. To him, it didn't matter. Strikeout. Arthur Rhodes at 39 years old, he was like on like 12 teams, but that was one of my that was like the most reliable reliever I've ever seen for the Reds.
He had an ERA at the All-Star break of .33.
Yep.
I'll never forget it was August, and you and I went to a game, Dad, and we were sitting somewhere along the first baseline, maybe the scout seats, and I'm looking up at the scoreboard because Arthur Rhodes is coming in, so it's probably the 7th or 8th inning. And his ERA in mid-August was .29. And I went, what the hell? Like, how did you get this far?
Yeah.
He gave up a home run.
He gave up a run, and it went to .31.
It was in the second or third game of the season to a guy named Baker that played for the Cubs. That was the only one he gave up for 4 months.
Yeah.
So, Bengal Dad, I got another closer for you. Well, actually, I got 2 of them. But Eddie Gordado.
Oh, I love Eddie.
One arm was like double the size of the other.
I forgot about him.
Everyday Eddie.
I forgot about that dude.
Yeah, he was good. He was. You could rely on Everyday Eddie.
I totally forgot about him.
I feel like we traded for him in the middle of the season. If you recall, I mean, we had, I think Aaron Harang was in that pitching staff. Elmer Descends. I mean, that was a great staff.
Ooh, I haven't heard that name in a hot minute.
And
Jesus.
The relief pitchers and set up to closer were phenomenal. And then I feel like I could be wrong on this, but I feel like Ryan Wagner, he was a young kid that kind of like stepped into that role and maybe gave us a couple of saves.
Yeah, he came straight from. Was he straight from college or high school?
I think he might have been straight from high school. I think
I don't think he pitched in the minor leagues.
He was throwing 99 back in.
Yeah, he didn't have any control. That was the problem.
I mean, every closer, it feels like, just doesn't have control. They just throw it really hard. But yeah.
Yeah, I just want a Mariano Rivera. That's all I want.
You're going to throw one pitch,
and
really well.
That pitch, and you're never going to hit it.
One pitch. How about Sean Doolittle, the fastball?
Oh my God.
Doolittle.
He looked good until somebody hit it.
He looked good until he threw the ball.
Yeah. Sean Doolittle.
All right, here I want to see if we can play a game live here, and then we'll move into some Bengal talk. Greg and I like to play this game periodically.
Oh, okay.
And I'll have him send it to Bengal Dad and I. I don't know if he's got your number, Game On, or not.
I do not have your number. Just say it live so we can all hear it.
Santori can send it to you.
Greg basically sends me the back of a baseball card. I do not get the position. I do not get a name. All I get are years and stats, and I have to guess the player. We have found that I am damn good at this.
I got you on Burton one time.
You got me on Jared Burton. I forgot he even existed.
I don't even remember Jared Burton. He was a pitcher?
A pitcher.
Yes. Right? He was a pitch. He was our 6th inning guy in 2010.
No, I got one for you right now, Santori. Right? You're not going to get this guy. I promise.
Are you sending it to Dad and I?
Yeah, I sure am, but I totally forgot about it, dude.
John, do you care if I send him your number and you can play along too?
I don't care. I don't care.
We need to put it on the screen. Can we do that?
Yeah.
His phone number on the screen. Oh
no.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Which one do you want me to send? Because I've got 2 numbers for you.
Well, definitely not the one I'm on right now is the work. So definitely the personal.
I don't know which. I have John and also John.
2-1. 2-1.
9-6. 9-6.
9-6. Okay.
Yeah, 9-6.
I
don't have. Oh, okay. It starts. There you go.
No, I heard Benson hit a home run.
Yeah, it's 2-1 now. 2-1.
Yeah.
Who hit
Benson bomb.
Benson.
All right, good.
About 3 rows deep. It was pretty looking.
Hey, it's a home run.
But see, that's what I'm saying. You know, Benson, a bit of a lull there, and then finally.
But when he gets hot, though, man, he pulls everything down the line. And
I feel like that's Ellie, though. Bro, that's Ellie. That's Benson. Once they're hot, right? They'll eventually.
Well, it seems like when Ellie is hot, they can't lose.
They can't.
Right.
He definitely. Well, he just took it. He's taken 4 pitches tonight, and that was another one, 83, right down the middle. Come on, Ellie. Swing the bat.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to get you guys so badly in this one. Santori, you're going to be so pissed off at me.
Remember, I have a year range that I know.
I know, and I looked up the year range.
Okay.
I was going to say, I can give you a couple old school pitchers. I mean, I got a lot of guys in the 90s.
I got some old stat lines in the memory banks here.
Are these all Reds, or is this just a random play?
So they are all Reds at some point, and he sends their it's basically their baseball reference page or their stat line, and you get their whole career, and you have to guess who it is.
Okay.
Santori will think, I'm like, do you just want me to tell you? He's like, no, I'm going to go for it. He's like this. I'm like, God dang, it's
9-14.
Base hit for Ellie.
So we got a 6-year player. Started with the Dodgers. Went to Pittsburgh for half a year. Then came here in 2012.
2012 to 2013. That was on the back end of going to the playoffs with Dusty.
Yeah.
I think
this was a spot starter. No
Dude,
power.
I don't know. Maybe I know who this is.
Played 100 games in 2013, then went to Arizona.
He didn't last long, dude. This guy didn't last.
No,
I think I know who this is.
Who is it?
Oh, should I say it?
Just say it.
Take your guess, yeah.
Royce Clayton.
Nope.
Okay.
No. All right. Who do we got?
I did not.
2012.
No power. Would have been a backup.
I totally forgot about this guy.
Greg does a good job of finding obscure players. That's why this is fun.
I don't know about that, but I try.
All right.
You wanted me to sing you another one also?
No, we'll keep on this one.
7-2. Oh,
Don't keep
32
for future
stolen
reference.
bases, though. 32 stolen bases.
It's highly technical here, what I'm doing.
No, we can
Well,
sing.
that means this player was pretty fast, Santor.
What were the stolen bases? I can't read it because I'm
Stolen bases in 2013 in 97 games, 32 stolen bases.
No, that's RBIs.
Oh, is that RBI? Oh,
Yeah. He
Okay,
did have
you-
He did have 16 stolen bases in 2011 between the Dodgers and Pirates.
You want me to give you the initials?
No, not yet.
No. Don't do that yet.
All right.
Thinking.
Look, I'm not going to blame you guys if you don't get this one. I
No,
mean,
these are hard. Like these are supposed to be difficult.
no, but I don't expect you to.
I don't think I'm in the right range of year, but I got my guess.
Who's your
Yeah.
guess?
Juan Castro.
Nope.
No, it's too. Juan Castro was
He
much
was
You're
older.
way.
Was he
Wait,
like 2005? Am I
Yeah.
way off?
I
Juan
think
Castro
it
was like 2003.
No, I picked a
Yeah.
good one here, didn't I? I picked a good one here.
Give me the initials.
Okay, this is going to give it away. XP.
Xavier Paul.
Yep.
oh,
Damn it!
I totally forgot about that guy. I knew when I gave away the initials, I was going to give it away.
That's a good one. Greg and I, we play that probably every time we hang out. If we go to a bar, we'll sit there for probably an hour. Just, I got probably 7 or 8 in a row right the other night at Chandler's, and I think Greg was losing it.
Well,
I
no,
think
one time we
critics
were
are all
talking
going
to
to start. The
What's
critics are going to start. Ellie
What?
just got thrown out trying to steal third.
Oh!
Oh, here
How
we
did-
go.
How did he get on?
He got a single. Went to
All right.
second on a wild pitch.
at
He had a great jump. I don't know how he got thrown out.
least we're hitting.
But no, one time a game, I did sing
Oh, he's safe.
I
I
was
don't think they tell you. We'll
I
see if
told-
we're challenging.
Man, the turnaround here would be great. 1 out and on third. No, he's safe.
I think they did touch him.
Okay.
That.
Showed another view. Sorry.
This is really big. 3-2 count on Steer right now. 1 out.
With that being said, let's transition a bit.
Yep. Transition.
We've got Greg. I think you have an autograph for every player that we just need to talk about.
No, not Jake Greg.
Dad,
This is very random, everybody.
Dad,
Yes.
he's just got Trey Hendrickson pulled up ready to rock and roll. All right. With that being said, we got to change the stripes here a little bit in the back.
Ellie was safe, and Steer just struck out. So now man scored 2 outs. Steer missed a hanging curveball.
But Ellie's safe. You still got a guy at third.
Yeah, he's still third. That was
All
a
right.
hanger, and you missed it.
Welcome to Bengals talk. Rally around the natty.
Sorry.
Stripes have changed colors. Speaking of stripes and changing colors and attitudes,
I'll stop.
I don't even want to call it disgruntled. I think this is just kind of par for the course for when people want a new contract. They hold out, they bitch, they moan, they say they want to trade. I don't necessarily ever believe any of that stuff. Typically, you get a lot of smoke earlier on, like you do with Stephon Diggs when things aren't really going well. I think in this case, Trey Hendrickson, for those of you who don't know, asked for a trade today. I think it's probably the fact that he's looking at making $15 million at his position when a lot of his colleagues are making close to 30 at his position.
Sucks to be him.
Yeah, I'll take a $15 million hit right now, I guess. Right? With that being said, I think Twitter, the timeline, X, I'm sure Bengals Facebook, the cesspool I don't go no near, is absolutely falling apart right now.
Yep.
I don't think it's much to worry about personally. Dad, we don't get too many rants from you anymore. I know you're a little prickled by this one.
I am a little prickled. Well, he's got a family to worry about.
Oh, how's he going to live on $15
my
million?
goodness, how's he going to pull that one off? He's going to make more in a year than most people make in a lifetime. Seriously.
Well, no, did you guys see a guy named Jesse James, who's a certified agent, said Section 8 recognitions and extensions of the CBA. He cannot renew his contract until 12 months till he signed the last one, which was on July 27th. What is going on here? Do they not know the rules or anything? Or
So he can't even renegotiate for another 2 months.
No, not until July 27th when he signed the contract.
Yeah, so for those of you who also aren't familiar with his contract, he just signed an extension 9 months ago that he is now unhappy with. For 2 years, mind you. Thank you, Game On. And to quote Dad and Game On and Pork Chop and Greg, and now I'm going to jump on the train, you didn't have to fucking sign it. If you did, like
is there video of when he signed his contract?
Was he held
there a
down?
Smith & Wesson pointed at his head? There must have been. There must have been.
There's a wonderful picture of him smiling with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just photoshopped that gun out of the picture.
Like, I understand if you're and here's the thing, I understand it. If you're Trey Hendrickson and you've seen that you just more or less over the last 2 years, like, led the NFL in sacks. You're one of the top 3 seemingly every year. And you see that you're making 15 and you see a guy like TJ Watt getting ready to make 30, Chris Jones making 30. You're thinking, wait a minute. You know, just put it in your terms. If you're making $40,000 at your job and you're just as good as the guy sitting next to you and he's making 90, you're going, well, hold on. I should be making at least close to that, right? This is where I differ a little bit. Let's take TJ Watt, Chris Jones, for example. In the run game, who would you rather have, Chris Jones or Hendrickson?
Jones.
Okay. Would you rather have TJ Watt or Hendrickson in the run game?
Why?
Okay. Would you rather have Myles Garrett or Hendrickson in the run game?
Garrett.
Would you rather have Hubbard or Hendrickson in the run game?
Hubbard.
Okay. So he sucks against the run.
Who would you rather have beneath Hendrickson?
With the exception,
there's nobody. He can't stop the run.
With the exception of Hubbard, of all the guys I just named, I would take all of them over him. And that's not a slam or a slight on Hendrickson. He is an excellent pass rusher. But at the end of the day, his position isn't called pass rusher. It's called defensive end. You have other responsibilities. And if you're going to run hybrid fronts like the Bengals run a lot, that includes run stopping. That does include occasionally dropping back into coverage. Sam Hubbard goes and plays middle linebacker sometimes. You are going to be expected to do other things than except pin your ears back. Hendrickson does not do them. He is a one-trick pony for the position. He is also 30. He also has back problems. So beyond the fact that he does half of his job right, is hurt, and is old, why does he think he needs to be paid like those other guys? I love him for what he does for us, but am I wrong?
Pro Bowls and stat sheet.
Okay, so fan popularity and one stat that every single time it comes up with Joe Burrow, everybody goes, oh, well, stats don't mean everything. Well, I'm going to say that with defensive ends too. Stats don't mean everything.
Yeah, this is true.
So
this is for you. This is for you. Back in July, they quoted Trey Hendrickson about the Bengals organization. Great coaches, great people, a great organization. It all starts from top to bottom. I get to be a part of that for another year. It's special. I want to stay a Bengal. They gave me a tremendous opportunity 2 years ago. There were a lot of question marks around my name. They believed in me. I still have the same desire to prove them right. The way they've invested in me, that's not something I take lightly. I have tremendous amount of respect for them.
So in the last 9 months, his life's been completely flipped upside down Or it's his agent trying to get him paid and using the draft.
There
as
you
leverage.
go. That's exactly what it is.
That's it.
Yeah,
Agent
what a
has gotten to
coincidence.
his head.
In sports, they
Right
just
before the
do.
Right before the draft. What a coincidence, right?
And we've got a niece, a dear family friend of ours, in the comments. Is this going to change our draft board? No, not at all. It's a smokescreen. He might want to get paid. What's he going to do at 30 years old? Quit his 2-year contract and just sit out for the next half a decade? No.
He did threaten retirement. That scares me a little bit.
So yeah, there's the floated option that he may retire. Well, so do you want more money, or do you want more money or less money?
Right.
Because those two things don't make sense. Do you want to trade because you think someone's gonna? So there's 3 options here now. There's 3 rules of thought. You want to trade because you're unhappy. You want to trade because you want more money, or you want to retire.
And keep in mind, if he retires,
You can retire from anywhere. It doesn't have to be here.
The Bengals retain his rights for 2 years if he retires.
That's
What?
why none
That's
of
not
it
going to
makes
happen.
sense.
Let's not go down that Mike Brown trade again with Carson Palmer.
I was gonna say the only person
That one worked out real well, though.
The only person who ever actually got traded was Carson, because Hugh Jackson's dumbass offered his entire franchise for him, and Mike Brown went, "All right." Like Mike Brown's not dumb. Like they're like, "You offered me what?" I'm not messing up the Ricky Williams trade twice.
No.
However, we do usually, when a player does request a trade, the Bengals usually do cover themselves via.
Oh, they typically do move on from the player within a year or so. Every player that's ever requested to be traded from the Bengals has been gone within a year or two. John Ross requested to be traded, gone. T. Higgins is requested to be traded. You know he's not going to be here in 2 years. You can forget about that. You know, Trey Hendrickson's contract's up in a year and a half. He's requested. All these guys, you know, that they do seal their fate when they do that. But at the end of the day, Mike Brown has always had the stance of you have a contract. Would it surprise me if the Bengals go out in the 4th round and grab a guy? No. Would it surprise me if next year they take a pass rusher number 1? No. Would it necessarily surprise me if, you know, one of the top pass rushers is sitting there at 18 and they go, okay. No, because at the end of the day, and I talk to Greg about this all the time, you either win by the pass or get beat by the pass. And if you stop the pass, a lot of times that starts with your defensive ends.
Yep.
And the Bengals have one pass rusher right now who is requested to leave. They're going to need one anyway. Hubbard's not an answer. Osai's probably not an answer. Murphy might be an answer. And Hendrickson's 30 years old and complaining. I don't necessarily know if it changes the draft board because it may have been an option anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Well, St. Tori, you and I discussed this with you. Like one time I was on my other show, Bruce, talking about this, how the Bengals don't really have that dominant player on defense that scares a bunch of people. And everybody in the comments was just coming to me like, what are you talking about? We have Trey Hendrickson. I'm like, look, I'm not ripping on Trey at all. I love having Trey on the team. But like Chris Jones, TJ Watt, who we were just talking about, Myles Garrett, those guys are all game. Geno Atkins was a guy that changed the whole outcome of the defense that scared a bunch of teams. I like Trey Hendrickson. Yes, he led the league in sacks. I get that. But I still don't put him up there with Chris Jones, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, and those guys. He's not that type of player, in my opinion, that's like, holy crap, this guy scares the living crud out of me.
So there's playmakers and there's game changers.
Yes.
And then there's game wreckers.
Yes.
Okay. Trey Hendrickson is somewhere between a playmaker and a game changer.
Yes.
If he's not in there, my game plan completely changes for sure. You know, you are going to have that lack of pass rush from that side. You know, he definitely makes plays. You see it all the time. There are a lot of clutch, timely sacks seemingly at the end of games where he's in there. I don't want to discredit Trey. He's a fantastic pass rusher, and that's such a big thing to have. With that being said, some of those other guys that you've named, I mean, how many times have we seen TJ Watt just win a game for the Steelers by himself? How many times have you seen Myles Garrett just, even to the Bengals, make us look like we're completely incompetent?
Right.
The Aaron Donalds of the world.
Chris Jones. He won.
The Chris Jones of the world. I love Trey. He's not in that conversation.
Yes.
At least not for me. And that's not a knock. I mean,
No.
I think if Trey has the sack numbers he has for the next 5 years, he's probably a Hall of Famer.
Mhm.
I think those guys are already Hall of Famers. That's the difference. They're so much more dynamic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no problem with his performance on the field. I like Trey Hendrickson also. I just have a problem with somebody needs to make more money because somebody else got some.
Right.
That bothers me. I mean, if that's the case, then keep yourself in shape, have 2 more great years, and go get your big paycheck and when you're 32. If you're all that in a bag of chips, earn it.
Well, and here's the thing. And oftentimes when we have this conversation, we're having it with guys like T. Higgins and Jesse Bates from 2 years ago. Guys that their rookie deals are ending. Are we going to extend them? Is it a franchise tag? You have a chance to get your one big paycheck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hendrickson already got 3 years 50 or whatever it was from the Bengals.
4
It's not 4 years 60.
initial.
It's not.
Yep.
He's already got the bag, so to say. It's not like he's still chasing that first deal. He's already been paid. And he got extended from Mike Brown, and he kept all of it. Most organizations don't do that. One, they just don't. Most find a reason to cut, restructure, trade, whatever. They don't like paying all of that. Like we talk about monopoly money and the phony money when the agents will go, oh, it's 3 years 100. Well, it's probably like 3 years 50. Well, Trey got the full 60 out of the Bengals, and now he's acting like he needs more, dude. Like that was your big contract. I know some guys get a chance to get paid twice, but you signed an extension that prevented you from doing that. That was your doing. You shot yourself in the foot there, bud. Because here's the thing. If he was going to be a free agent, Dad, Greg, everybody, we've all talked probably in the last year and a half going, how are we going to re-sign Trey and Reader? Are we going to break the mold and go past the 30 age rule that the Bengals don't like to pay defensive players past the age of 30? Are they going to give him, that 4-year, $100 million deal that seemingly all these other guys are giving and push it into the year 33 for Trey? And then they have the restructure and seemingly it almost saves them a little bit of money. And you go, oh, all right. Well, that was different, but he's under contract. And now he's complaining he didn't get money. Well, that was not one of the simple restructures that the Bengals did. That was an extension that he has to agree to. So I don't really know where Trey's coming from here. Like this was what you wanted. This is what you negotiated for.
This is obviously his agent because of the timing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a posturing is all it is.
Well, and to say, oh, they haven't been negotiating with us. You have 2 years left on your contract and the draft is tomorrow. Why the fuck would we be negotiating with you?
And again, they're not even allowed to.
Not till the 27th. He's signed
Right.
it. The July 27th.
It's like getting mad at somebody like right when the tampering period starts. Oh, they didn't negotiate with me. I haven't. It's not time.
We're not allowed to.
I would say this, though, fellas. I would say this because I agree with everything you said, Santori. But I would say from the Bengals' perspective of looking at this, of now the second player to say, hey, I want to be traded. Now you kind of got to look forward in the long-term plan of potentially, moving on from him and trying to find out what's the best way to piece my team together. I myself felt like Trey Hendrickson was going to be a long-term Bengal, retire as a Bengal, and be a Hall of Fame candidate. And now I'm of the opinion the Bengals are probably thinking within the next 2 years, okay, how do we maximize this defense and at the same time be able to move on from Trey and bring in, the new pieces that will be able to supplant him.
Well, I always think from a front office or GM perspective, which players hate and a lot of fans hate.
Oh, yeah.
With the exception of maybe 3 to 4 guys on the roster, they are all replaceable.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Okay. And a lot of times you can replace them 2 to 1. Meaning, even if I got to cut Trey and I'm not paying him $20 million, 2 $10 million guys at that same spot will probably get it done. Hey, even if I got to rebuild it in an aggregate.
Hey, one of them might be able to stop the run.
Yeah. With that being said, you have Joe under contract, meaning you're paying the offense. And if Joe's under contract, his line better be under contract, which means I'm paying the offensive line. So I can already think of 6 guys right there that should be getting paid before anybody on defense. Okay, you typically don't have more than 7 or 8 big contracts at a time, and you know Jamar's getting one. So now we're at 7 guys all on one side of the ball that are always going to be getting paid, with the exception of if there's a rookie contract like Volson, or you get a veteran on a cheaper deal like Karras.
And we're getting Justin Jefferson in 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
Right. So all of that over there, right, needs to be taken care of first for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
With that being said, what you always do and you always hear when your quarterback is on a rookie contract is you maximize his value by signing veterans to maximize that rookie window. Once you sign your quarterback, you need to maximize rookie contracts in other places, and that's when you start getting those bargain deal, veteran, journeyman, no-name defense type of deals, right? This is not 2005 where defensive ends are not getting paid a ton, and I can rebuild the Colts and have Reggie Wayne and Edgerrin James and Peyton Manning and that offensive line and Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney. That's not going to happen. Those days are gone. If you are going to pay your offensive line, which is at least 3 contracts at a time, most likely, your quarterback, a wide receiver, you're going to have to find some bargain deals on the defensive line. Paying Trey Hendrickson from here on out was not an option anyway.
Yeah.
He was, in my opinion, he was going to be cut next year.
Yeah, I thought that.
I get ripped on every year. 2 years ago, I said Mixon's about ready to get cut, and that's when the whole Mixon Twitter bullshit blew up all over everything. And I said Boyd was probably going to be gone in the next year or two. And I said Higgins is. I said I don't believe in paying 2 receivers at the same time. It's going to be hard to keep him.
The one that's not being talked about, Mike Hilton, is going to.
Yeah, he's going to be gone too. I mean,
Sam
they just got rid.
Hubbard,
They just got rid of Awuzie, Hubbard. I mean,
Yeah.
all these guys making money are about to go. So that's why when they're like, "Oh, should we really draft another corner?" Yeah.
Yes.
Because if Turner does what he's supposed to do, and Hill does what he's supposed to do, and Battle does what he's supposed to do, and guess what? Cam Taylor-Britt, he's going to get paid. I'm not paying all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Someone's going to have to go. It's just the way it is. Now I'm already paying 2 linebackers. And guess what? When their contracts are up in 2 and 3 years, at least one of them's gone. So it's a balancing act. It's about layering. And as long as Joe Burrow is secured, your defense is going to come very much later down the road. You're going to see a lot of drafts over the next 5 to 10 years that are super defensive heavy. It's because they're going to have to keep reloading and re-signing and keep staying young. You're going to see a lot of those deals for guys like a Justin Houston that comes in for $3 million at the age of 42 to be your number 4 pass rusher. And everybody's going, what are we doing? This is how you sustain at this point. And people don't want to hear that, but when you give Joe the contract that you gave him and you want to pay Jamar, well, I better pay the line. And if you think for a minute you're going to be able to do all that and pay Justin Jefferson and not have a high school team out there on defense, you're, there's as much as Mike Brown says it and he gets ridiculed for it, everybody gets a piece of pie.
Yeah.
You're going to run out of pie.
Yeah. Well, no, so Joe Goodberry just tweeted this out. The agent made 2 deals with the Bengals. There are no secrets about the type of contracts they give out, and he agreed twice to it. Now he wants the new deal less than a year later. Quote, in final sentence, the agent is about to get fired. I mean, what is the agent thinking? Like, wouldn't this be the agent's fault on all this?
I would be very. It depends what's really going on. If I'm Hendrickson and I'm really wanting a new contract and I'm looking at my agent like, really? And now, you can't negotiate for another 3 months and you do this now. There's just so much of this that, in my line of work, and I messed up on this the other day and a coworker was very nice about it. If you don't have your ducks in a row, you look a little unprofessional and kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Like, know your steps, know your process, know what you're supposed to do, or else you're going to look like an idiot. His agent's not looking too bright right now. Trey Hendrickson, at the end of the day, plays ball and makes money. Those are his that's his world. The agent takes care of all the things in between, and the order's not there. The sequence isn't there. The process isn't there. They're skipping steps. And the Bengals are probably going, I can't even talk to you for 3 months. Can you wait till the draft is over?
Yeah.
Like, if you'd have come up to me in August and been like, hey, I know I just signed this, but I'm thinking maybe we'll talk. But then at the other time, I'm getting ready to start my season. Can we wait till this? Can you wait till January, please?
I got a little different spin on that.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a tax guy because that's what he's supposed to know is taxes. But if he tells me to do something stupid, I'm not going to do it. I've got an attorney. If my attorney tells me to do something stupid, I'm not going to do it. Hendrickson has a mind of his own. He didn't have to take this guy's advice and go public with this. I mean, these guys do have minds of their own. I know the agents put this stuff in their head, but you're allowed to use the filter that you have in your head to decipher, is that smart or is that stupid?
I tell Greg to do stupid stuff all the time. He doesn't do it, though.
See, Greg's got a filter. He understands.
No, can I read from Andre Perola said, all Trey got for the 1-year extension, which was added in 2025, non-guaranteed $60 million salary, was $5 million in bonus payment. So for a quick $5 million, he gave up one more season to control, now wants out. And he said, should have just forgone the $5 million, played out this contract, and hit the market next year, 2025. So he did get a $5 million bonus now, or
he got $5 million extra cash, which basically when we talk about restructuring and they re-sign salaries to a signing bonus, so you get your cash up front. Well, he did that, but then agreed to lose a year of control. Well,
yeah. He had 16 on the books he was going to make. They gave him 5 extra. He made 21 last year, and now he's upset about it because they got an extra year on him.
He accepted the deal.
He chased the money and not the logic, and look what happens.
Honestly, fellas, I think this is a nothing burger for me. I think this is the agent about to get fired. I think this is a Trey potentially coming out and apologizing, and I think this is going to be a saving face, prior to the season.
What was weird was when we saw Trey Hendrickson sign a contract, right? Last year, 7 months ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Every single person when that tweet came across thought he took a pay cut, because it was when Joe took a pay cut, and everybody's like, oh my God, everybody's taking pay cuts. We're going to keep Joe. We're going to keep Jamar. They're trying to keep T. Like, that's kind of where everybody's thought process was. And then it said, well, he got a raise this year. And everybody was kind of like, what? And it was like, oh, and he got another year. And it's like, well, he got like less money for 2 years. Like, there was so much confusion when that contract hit. And I just kind of brushed under the rug. Like, I don't really get what happened here, but whatever. It doesn't affect me too much. The Bengals cleared up some cash. I just remember kind of once I got the details, like, I don't know why Trey did this, but okay. And now 7 months later, Trey's kind of like, I don't know why I did it either. Like,
so game. A lot of times when I get panicked, I have to go to Santori, and Santori pretty much has to smack me in the face, say, snap out of here, okay? But that's pretty much what he does with me and all that. Like, when Bengals fans were complaining about free agency, going haywire and all that, like, Santori's like, hey, they're doing exactly what I wanted them to do in free agency. And I called Santori. I'm like, Santori, you and I disagree on a lot. Why is it you're the only one staying calm where a bunch of others are freaking out like the whole world's coming to an end? You're like, because everybody acts like we're supposed to sign a bunch of big contracts, like give everybody 5 $100 million year contracts and all that.
Because
once you pay your quarterback, the money stops.
I feel like I've known Santori for a while. He's pretty level-headed on everything. So he's not going to be too high or too low on a decision. Right. He might freak out for a second, but then he goes back to his old self.
Yeah.
So I would say he's pretty level-headed in that, and I feel like I'm a pretty emotional person, Greg. I'm just like you.
What? You've never yelled at me in a group chat before. Initially,
I'm gonna react the way that an emotional person would, and then I'm gonna take a step back and I'm gonna say, okay, like, does this make sense? And gonna try to analyze it and then come to a conclusion. Thankfully, Twitter, you don't tweet out immediately when you react to something. So
no.
what the hell is this? You're not immediately tweeting. You have time to rationale and think about it. And really,
Right.
Well, some of us don't. There's a lot of people that are very, very immediate.
No,
Don't
very
tweet
immediate. Well,
people with bad news.
yeah.
So I feel like that's where we are with this situation. I felt the same way with the T. Higgins situation, man. When he requested a trade, I was like, oh, it's just a nothing burger. It's the same old with Jonah Williams. Another 1 year that they play, you'll be fine. And
Another
then
guy that said I want to be traded and is gone.
Yeah, but then we heard him in the interview. He did his own day camp, and he came out and said, "Oh, I have a love for Cincinnati that beyond
It's
He was at the St. Taddy event, all happy.
yeah." So
it's
Greg,
just
again, this is agent posturing speech
yes.
in order to gain more for their client, and nothing more than that. The client's not going to do anything.
It's Santori. I bet you were expecting me to be all depressed coming into the show, didn't you? You're like, Greg's probably going to be.
You were.
Which I was.
We logged on and immediately you went, oh, well, this is going to be a shit storm.
I was okay till 30 minutes ago.
No, you expected it, didn't you? But you expected it to happen, though, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, 100%. What's really funny is I've been waiting for my buddy Joe, who lives out in West Virginia. We've talked about him on the show several times. Joe is a very, very, very reactionary person, too. He will eventually see the light and be fine. It is what it is. But I've been waiting for Joe's text. And Joe sometimes is 2 days behind, is what it is. I just got a text in all caps from Joe within about the last 30 seconds that said, this motherfucker's pulling a Carson Palmer. I'm like, you need to calm down.
But no, I really
breathe.
Yeah, but Santori's like, Greg, how you doing today? I'm like, dude, doing good. I'm not doing good. I'm having a So no, guys, like I said, the agent, he's got some explaining to do.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's typical, as GameOn said. It's just business posturing from the agent. It's it's no different than, and I say this tongue in cheek because it is funny, but when a couple years ago when Laramie Tunsil's gas mask popped out right before the draft, that was done. Someone did that on purpose to tank his draft stock.
Yes.
And something is going to happen again in the next 24 hours where someone does something stupid and, well, he was a top 20 pick. Now he's in the fourth round. It happens every year.
Same thing. DJ Stroud last year, the Wonderlic. Remember the Wonderlic?
Oh, yeah. They said he was dumb.
Then they said he can't work with teams because he's too combative in the locker room. It's like, come on, dude. And then he ends up being a stud. It's like, you guys just ignore everything that you hear about players in terms of, unless it's like, an offense where there's a charge or something. I think we can kind of ignore, the background noise there.
Yeah, you'll hear out of nowhere this week that, oh, this guy's been in a character problem and his teammates don't like him and no one showed up to his birthday party. And you're like,
draft day movie.
What? Who cares about that?
Bo Callahan.
But I asked Santori. Santori's never seen it. He's like, Greg, that's the stupidest observation I've ever heard of. Where did you hear this draft day? But no, seriously, I want to ask you a serious question, Game. Say if you found out none of that dude's teammates, like, all right, let's just say Byron Murphy. We all like Byron Murphy, but you found out nobody came to his birthday party. Would that honestly upset you?
Oh,
it would raise a question, but I'm not sure it would.
True. I would think that Byron's probably more of a type B personality. I think he'd probably be similar to Burrow, where hey, I want to play video games at home. I want to hang out with my girlfriend, but I'm not going to go too many places.
Right.
Having said that, Greg, that is an ode to Jamarcus Russell. If you recall, when Russell was drafted, one of the teams sent him basically a playbook with a recording.
DVD. Yeah, I knew the story.
Recording of all the plays and everything, and all he had to do was like put it in It was, I think it was blank, wasn't it? It was,
It was blank.
They
That was
sent
the
him
point.
blank tapes to
And-
prove he wasn't watching film.
Yeah.
And then they asked him about the blitzes, and he wrote down a bunch of shit that was because it was a blank tape.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, this guy's he's full of shit.
Remember the movie Draft Day? He was emailed a playbook, and they put $100 at the end of the book, and he didn't even know about the $100. He's like, oh, now I remember good one, because he never even opened the playbook or anything.
Right.
And all that and
Right.
stuff.
I think that was an ode to Jamar.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely a funny thing that these teams do to see guys engaged or not.
Absolutely.
Well, without diving too much into the draft, because it's, believe it or not, it's not something we talk too much about on the show. It is tomorrow. It's going to be fun. You got a 3-day event coming up. Dad, I know you have negative knowledge of anybody in the draft whatsoever. If you could have your wish pick right now, and we'll just leave it at that because we're about an hour, and I'm sure my wife is already mad that it's been an hour. But you got one wish pick. Who is it? Greg, you can start.
Byron Murphy or Newton.
Okay, so defensive line.
Yeah, defensive line.
Game on.
Dude, if it's a wish pick, like any player in this draft,
Well, make it feasible. Don't be like, oh yeah, I want
Joe
Marvin.
Alt,
I'm trading up for
Harrison.
Joe Alt, baby. I'm trading up for Joe Alt.
Well,
No,
yeah, that's not. It's not going to happen, but it's not out of the realm to move up 10 spots and grab somebody.
I really like the idea. I know a lot of people, it's back and forth on Twitter on this, but I really, really like the idea of making Brock Bowers a weapon in this offense. I really do.
Dad?
Yeah, go
ahead. I know you don't know any names, but what would you like?
I don't need names. I want the best potential offensive lineman to protect Joe Burrow. That's all I care about.
You'll have
Joe
that
Burrow
opportunity.
is on the field, the Bengals are not fun to watch.
You're not going to get Joe Alt.
I don't care who it is. Give me the best one that is available at 18. Just give me the best one.
It probably Mims would be
mortgaging the future for Joe Alt. We're gonna trade 3 first-round picks to move up to number 3.
Crypt has someone he would like you to take.
A kicker. I'll take a punter.
I'll take a punter. With that being said, we got one last thing we want to talk about, and that is our Project Game Day draft party going on Friday. Yeah, round 2. That is going to be at Midwest Best. It is currently sold out. Game On was on a wait list for quite a while to get a ticket. Finally did get one, so he will be joining us. We hope to grow this every year. We have been getting a lot of requests for more tickets since it's been sold out. There were only like 40 tickets, so just keep that in mind. With that being said, if you were not fortunate enough to have a ticket, you can still go to there's like a before event where Cincy Hat will be at Midwest Best. And they have some special edition hats and some overflow from old hats that they still have. They will be selling hats from, I think, 5 to 7. So if you want to get there, and that does not involve a ticket, that does not involve RSVP, they're going to be at Midwest Best from 5 to 7, and they've got special edition hats that they made specifically for this event. I think they've got some other stuff that they're bringing. I know Matt from Cincy Hat put out some stuff today on Twitter about it. So keep a lookout for that. We'd love to see you down there. And if you're paying attention, we're hoping to have more events through the year. I think we're probably going to try and do this again next year for sure. And thank you to everybody that's donated and gone to the event. We've raised literally thousands of dollars so far to be able to help Bengal fans get to games and help support veterans and adults with disabilities. It's been far exceeded our expectations for sure. We had a graph of what we had hoped to make, and we have exploded right past that. But all that just makes the game day experience better for these people that are getting to go to their first game, and it makes the tailgates better because it does help fund those events and everything we do, and it helps us build better events in the future. So thank you to everybody. I look forward to seeing everybody. And, we were able to kind of put this event together in about 60 days. Honestly, this was something, it really came together quicker than that. Greg and I were just talking about going to Midwest to watch the draft, and that was like late January. We were spitballing.
Last game of the Bengals season. Because someone said, "Oh, the Midwest closes at 10." I'm like, "Oh, I'll just call Midwest, see if we could stay after."
So this was like mid to late January that Greg and I are talking about it, and I went to bed with the idea that I was going to watch rounds 2 and 3 with Greg at Midwest, and woke up to a nonprofit with 3 different organizations backing us, and I had about 700 missed text messages and like 20 phone calls. I'm going, what is happening? So these things can come together pretty quick. Keep an eye out. This is not going to be the last event we have for sure. And join us on Sundays down at the tailgates, because I cook now. I don't know how much more I'm going to be cooking because people are offering to cater for us. So specifically Midwest does
What's
a lot.
What's the name of our lot? We're lot 1.
Lot 1. We're right over near Bengal Bomb Squad. If you're
Yep.
familiar with Bengal's captain, he's about 4 or 5 spaces just diagonal. So there's a lot of good crew there. But, Game On, thanks for hopping on here tonight. I'm going to go scream at the Reds until they win. Greg, as always. Cincy James, wherever you're at, boo. No show. Don't know what that's about. And everybody in the chat, I know there was some new people in there we didn't quite get to. I'm thankful for everybody, seriously. A lot of people watching tonight, and just always thankful for the support. Anything anybody want to plug?
Let's just hope for a good draft. And you know what, man? Just don't let the Trey Hendrickson thing bother you after a group therapy session. I'm coming out sober here. So I'm coming in with a positive mindset for tomorrow, because, look, just try to stay positive. That's all I say.
People, get your tickets June 1st, LoganWilsonSoftball.com. Trey Hendrickson will be at that game with players and coaches.
Whether he's traded or not, he'll be hitting 5th.
He'll be there. You'll be able to get his autograph. You'll be able to watch him have some fun. Also, for the draft, post game 1 or post night 1, we're going live on Spaces at 11 o'clock and going till 2 a.m. That Thursday night. I got Friday to get off. Plus, it's my son's birthday that day. We're going to Kings Island. So I'm staying up late. We're doing a little draft coverage and getting people's initial thoughts, as well as what's going to happen day 2.
All right. I'm going to Kings Island.
Let's do it.
So it's one of the best sign-offs of all time.
Yeah, I got stuck on the Son of Beast Hill for a half hour because some dude brought a camera on. I was you guys can imagine I was freaking out the entire time. Like I was going to be dead soon or something.
All right, we're going to leave it at that. Good night, everyone.
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Throws is on his way around.
Greg.